The best stuff in comics this week.
It's time once again for another episode of The Best Stuff in Comics this week. This is where we tell you the other best stuff besides the best covers, the best stories, and the best wallets. This week's best rescue by a guy sticking to his bow and arrows comes from Age of Ultron #1. We got the shiny throwback to the 90s cover. So here, things are really sucky. The world, it's a mess. Ultron has taken over. Hawkeye, despite all this, Hawkeye is still going to use his bow and arrows. Now we're seeing, funny Hawkeye and Hawkeye, but here you see he's not so funny here. He's taking it serious. He's got what do you do with the bow and arrow? You shoot people through the mouth and have it stick out the back of their head. But again, don't try this at home. Best heroic rescue by a guy sticking to his bow and arrows. This week's best use of red kryptonite comes from Superman Family Adventures #10. So General Zod is out. He's on Earth. He's got his own hot dog stand, Zod Dogs. And instead of regular salt, he has salt engineered with a touch of red kryptonite. It is the kind of red kryptonite that enhances food and makes things grow. Oh yes, grow very large indeed. So we got giant hot dogs attacking the city. Best use of red kryptonite this week. This week's best homage to Amazing Fantasy #15 comes from Daredevil End of Days #6. It's not really a spoiler if you read Solicit, but anyways, Ben Urich, he's falling out of a window. Who can save him? Daredevil. Just like in Amazing Fantasy #15. Is this a flashback? What's going on? Isn't Daredevil dead? You gotta read and find out. Best homage to Amazing Fantasy #15. This week's best house ad comes from DC Comics. It's in all their books. So we have, it's sad, it's for Requiem, in memory of Damian Wayne. And I assume you've heard about this already. Best house ad this week. Now this next one's not really a spoiler, it comes from Swamp Thing. You've been warned. Best touchingest, saddest scene, heartbreaking scene, touching scene, there you go, comes from Swamp Thing #18. We see Alec Holland and Abby Arcane. They look so peaceful. Why is it sad? It's happy, but it's sad, but it's happy. Best happy, saddest, touching scene this week. Best team up this week comes from A+X #5. We have Dupe and Iron Fist. That's all you need to know. Pizza's involved. Best team up this week. This week's best Doctor Who reference comes from the Avengers. Actually, just Avengers. Comes from Avengers #7. So we have this. We see it. This guy's got a phone, cell phone cover. It's a TARDIS. People have those. Doctor Who reference. Best Doctor Who reference TARDIS reference this week. This week's best name for the working folk comes from Venom #32. We have Flash Thompson. He's sitting alone. He's thinking, am I Eugene Flash Thompson, recovering alcoholic, dark vigilante, Avenger of the Broken Wing? Or am I Joe McCubicle of the Punch Clock McCubicles? Joe McCubicle of the Punch Clock McCubicles. Best name for the working folk this week. This week's best way to win a battle of rings, power rings, comes from Green Lantern #18. So we're in the dead zone. We're not there. And Sinestro, he wants his ring back. So how do you get your ring back? You have an extra finger. Count them. Count them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the thumb. Best way to win a battle for rings. Also from Green Lantern 18, the best use of a non-superpowered accessory. Simon Baz, why does he carry that gun around? He's fighting Sinestro. Sinestro claims he has stronger will. Your will is faltering. It is nothing. And as soon as you are dead, the ring will be... Best use of a non-superpowered accessory this week. This week's best sign that Peter Parker will return to Spider-Man comes from Superior Spider-Man #5. So we see Ghost Peter. He's talking to himself, talking to us. Ugh, you're killing my reputation, Otto. You know that, right? By the time I get my body back, there won't be anything left. So that means Peter's coming back. Also in this issue, we have the best message. You should watch what you eat. You pig, look at you, chowing down while massacres out there massacring people, eating all those carbs and dessert. Forget my reputation. When I get that body back, I'll have to work off an Otto Octavius-sized gut. Best message, you should watch what you eat. Watch those carbs, kids. This week's best barroom brawl comes from Guardians of the Galaxy Infinite Comic #1. So you need a device to read these. We have Drax. He's not really looking for a fight. The fight's looking for him, and he delivers. Best barroom brawl this week. Also in Guardians of the Galaxy Infinite Comics, we have the best "we're putting the band back together" Blues Brothers reference. Peter Quill talks to Drax. We need to get the Guardians back together. So it's kind of like the Blues Brothers, but not really. Sorta. Best, we gotta put the band back together reference this week. And this week's best fake conversation. We had a lot of requests, a lot of suggestions over this one. All New X-Men #8. So we have Captain America. He's talking to old present day Beast. He's like, what's going on with these kids? Everyone's watching from afar. I sarcastically wonder what this conversation is going like.
I know exactly what the conversation is going like.
I said sarcastically.
Cap is saying, you're telling me that you once again have used the space-time continuum for your own selfish purposes?
But Captain, you see, indubitably, vis-a-vis, concurrently, there are many theories how the space-time continuum is a natural living organism that doesn't blah 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 blah. And it delightfully goes on from there. Best fake conversation this week. And that is it for this week. Special thanks to Karam Rod, Director 421, DJ Fanco, Blue Valley Kid, Tolo Tolaire, OnlyLink666, Maddie De Niro, and Josh Co. If you would like to participate, you can @reply me on Twitter, Gman from Heck. Make sure you use the hashtag #BestStuffInComics. I will take your suggestions, I will think about them, I'll toss them around, and I will possibly use them. So as always, look for the best stuff and try to avoid those carbs, or else you gotta suck in your gut.